Welcome back to part 2 of the Apollo 11 inspired ship using MechJeb getting from the Earth to the Moon. If you haven't seen part 1, feel free to watch that first. That shows how to use MechJeb and the ascent guidance to get into a perfect orbit. So what we're going to do here is continue on. So let's get the UI back up. So as you can see, we are in a trajectory to intercept with the Moon here. But before we do that, we need to link up the command module to the lunar module and decouple the fuel tank. So let's do that now. It's a better view of this side here. So first thing we're going to do is just get rid of this cap here. So now we're going to I always double check that control from here is set. I've had this set before, and then my Kerbal float off into space, because right now they're all in the command module. After we link up, we dock, I will then move 2 Kerbals from the command module to the lunar module. You can do this anytime, obviously before you land on the Moon. But let's go ahead. So I'm going to decouple the node right here. So now we are decoupled. Now I'll set the docking port as the target. So let's move away a bit. So this is really simple with MechJeb. I just click the docking autopilot and enable it. And we'll decouple that while we're at it. As you see here, it's going to handle all the docking. You probably can dock with this manually. The docking autopilot comes in a lot much handier when you're taking off from the lunar module to try to dock back up with the command module that would be in orbit of the Moon. But it's going to make a few corrections here. It's taking this long here. I might just disable autopilot and go in all the way. There it goes. So the second thing we want to do before we speed up time to get closer to the Moon is we need to decouple this fuel tank. While we still have a good core of a tank left, we don't need the fuel that's in it. Just getting in the way, so we'll decouple. Perfect. So let's speed up time here a bit and get closer to the Moon. Oops, turn off the smart ass. Don't want to overshoot the Moon. That's always annoying, but I use quick save a lot, so if that happens, we can just reload. Alright, so now we are in a free fall right into the moon. So what we need to do is, if this is just a lander, you can easily just open up the landing guidance, pick a spot on the moon, and start landing. But since we have a command module, what we want to do is we want to get into orbit so that the lunar module can meet back up with the command module, because the command module has the fuel to get us back home. So we're going to set up a node point here, or it doesn't really matter where you set it up. So 20 kilometers is pretty good. So let's open up the maneuver planner and execute next node. Actually, before we do that, I meant to mention we need to do a few more things here first before. We want to activate both engines. And then we want to disable the engine on the lunar module. So we should only have this engine enabled. There we go. Let's execute the burn. Alright, so now we are going to kind of hook around the moon. So what we want to do is we want to get into orbit of the moon. I'm trying to find a setting here. Which one am I looking for? I'm looking for... We want to do a circle. I'm going to do it the next parallapse? Parasis, whatever you call it. So this is going to get us into orbit around the moon. Probably a little higher than I want it to be. I believe the Apollo mission actually was about 10 kilometers in orbit around the moon. We'll be at 20, but that's okay. We should be in orbit here in a second. There we go. Okay, so now we are in a orbit around the moon. Now we need to move some Kerbals from the command module to the lunar module. So we'll pick the Bills and the Bobs just to remember who's in there. Just gotta find the entrance. There it is. I got the one in, so let's get in the other. We're getting Bob. Still learning how to do this a bit, so. Alright, so now we have both Kerbals in our lunar module, and we are going to decouple here in a moment. Let's just spin this around a bit to get it facing the prograde direction. So we're going to take control from here. And we're going to decouple, or undock. So the next part here is to land. So we're going to open up the landing guidance here. Pick target on the map here. Pick whatever you think would be a fun place to land. Just quickly looking at this, you can really pick anywhere. Obviously higher up, if you were to pick up higher up here, the more burn you're going to do to change the direction which you're orbiting. So let's just make it quick here, just to demonstrate. Let's land on the. I don't want to land on an incline. Let's land in this crater right here. We'll land next to this crater within the crater. Click land at target. Actually, I'm going to abort the auto land. Got to turn the engine on here. Activate engine. There we go. Now land on target again. So it's going to get in position here. As you can see, it's moving the low orbit plane to change the burn point. And there goes my command module. So it's going to be a small burn just to change the degrees in which we're going around the orbit. It's just a little bit to get lined up with the landing spot. Now we do the burn. And this really will get us down to the point we chose exactly on the map. You'll see the green, the blue is the target, the red is where we're landing right now, but it will slowly, as this line slowly comes in, this will slowly move here and it'll match right up. And this fuel is all we need to get to the moon. To get off the moon, we're going to use this small engine and decouple from the part of the lander of the lunar module. So right now it's just kind of a watching game here. Feel free to skip ahead a bit in the video, but what you're going to see here is it just slowly brings you down. It's executing low deorbit burn, and it'll slowly start tilting down. Over here roughly is where we're trying to land at. As you can see, the X's are slowly lining up here, and it warped a bit automatically. And if soon he's going to start braking, since we're going way too fast at this rate, we just crash into the moon. But here comes the burn to start slowing us down more to brake. Getting pretty close here, and we're still slowing down, which is good. Should probably put the legs out here so I don't crash or fall over. Let's lower our landing struts. Off in the distance at the command module, 70 kilometers away. You can actually see the MechJeb part that you have to add to actually get these features enabled. I believe there's a plugin that kind of incorporates this into the module, so you don't need to have the separate part on there. It also needs to be powered, so there are solar panels, just flat ones. So we're going down. Eventually, I believe right now it's killed the engine, and we're kind of going to float down, and it will kick the engines off before we impact to make a soft landing. There it goes. And here we go for the landing. Nice and soft. All done by MechJeb. There we go. We are now on the moon with MechJeb using the Apollo 11 inspired lunar module. So this ends part 2. Part 3 will be actually decoupling from the landing portion of the LEM and firing back off and rendezvousing with the command module that's in orbit around the moon. So from here you can extend the ladder out and let your Kerbals run around and plant a flag. Thanks for watching. Check out part 3. Should be somewhere in the description or on the left, the right side. And thanks for watching.